Hello and good morning. It is Hannah from Communication Wise, and I am going to dive right in. I posted a blog last week Friday about Trump and really how to talk politics online, on social media, or how to talk politics in real life. Although I will say, I don't think that happens as much as going online and everyone sharing their opinion online. Anyways, I started my blog with saying, if you say Trump, which is a trigger word, I am not going to say anything. And I started with that sentence because I'm going to be really honest. I have nothing insightful to say. I don't have any, clever thoughts. I don't have any of that because honestly, I haven't studied the subject enough. I don't know enough about it. I am an immigrant. I don't even know much about the structures of this society to know enough to talk, about like people in that structure. I do know something about the trias politica, the lawmakers, the executors of the law, and then the judges for when things go wrong. I think when you start at that, you are going to build yourself a foundation. But as I said, I'm not going to talk about politics. I am not going to talk about the actual content. I am talking about how to talk about politics, because that's an art in and of itself, and you see it go wrong all the time. So I decided it might be helpful for people to know how they would be able to influence somebody else, or how they would be able to solve a conflict. And so that's what mediators do. That's what we do. But I'm also hopeful, and a lot of mediators nowadays are like, there's only two groups and they are splitting further and further apart from each other, and they don't know how to talk to each other, and things are getting worse, and eventually chaos. And I don't think so. I think it is great that we have social media. I think rather than have one or a couple radio stations or one or a couple TV stations, we have platforms in which we are all able to express whatever we think. I mean, how is that for democracy? How is that for, taking other people's opinions in? That is great. We should be cheering, that we have social media and that we are able to have an audience. That's the first step. But now the second step, how do you talk to your audience? How do you talk in a way that another person will hear you and might change their opinion, might change their point of view, or expand? Because that's what you want with a real conversation. Real conflict resolution is that you are coming from one way, I am coming from another way, and we talk and we listen, and we talk and we listen, and we talk and we listen. We find common ground, and then we build on that. And then eventually we're either gonna agree on certain things or we don't, but we have this bigger understanding of the subject that we both care about. And that is really big. That's huge. So this is funny. I was talking to my dad yesterday. He had his birthday, so I called him up and we were chatting. I said happy birthday, and then we're talking about family, we're talking about this and that, the weather, whatever. And then he's like, so stormed any buildings lately? And I said no, I decided to stay home, safety, COVID, all that. And so we were joking. And then he was asking me, he's like, so what we hear on television, like blah, 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 very serious. How do you feel about that? Like, what is your political view? And it wasn't the time or the place, you know. They were getting ready to have a family dinner. And I was literally standing in front of the store to go in. So I said, well, Papa, I call him Papa, read my blog. And he was like, excuse me. And I said, read my blog and I'll send it to him and he'll read it and he'll be, you know, hopefully proud of me. And if not, then, you know, that's okay too. But in my blog, I am saying only engage, and this is my first tip, only engage in a subject about something that you feel very strongly about, that is almost sacred to you. Like it could be religion, it can be politics, it can be anything, but only engage when you are feeling good. Check in with yourself before you say anything, because if you're feeling good, you will want to learn, you'll be eager to know more. If you don't feel good, then you're closed off and you're not ready. So check in with yourself. Is this a good time? For me and my dad, it wasn't. But it was like I was feeling fine. He was feeling great. It was his birthday, but it wasn't the right time. So if somebody is pressuring you and they're like, no, but I really want to know. Well, like, how important is this? This is not a situation of life and death. We're all in our safe little homes with our heat on, with our water running. This is not something that you need to discuss. Set a boundary. I was talking to a neighbor maybe a week ago or something. I came in, I asked my friend how she, like her foot was hurting her. And I just came in to ask her how her foot was. And her husband started talking politics. And I said, oh no, I said, I didn't come in for that. I don't have anything to add. And I said, I came in to, you know, ask about her foot. And that's a boundary. That is like, this is not a good time. I'm not feeling it. And I have that a lot. So I don't want to talk about it. I can just tell them, you know, oh, you know, my intention was such and such. And that's enough. So another super big tip that we tend to forget, especially on social media, is when you decide to engage, whether that is in a political conversation or religious or whatever, you know, whatever is sacred to you, then somebody else will think something else, right? I'm here, you're there, we don't see eye to eye. But in order for us to have a constructive conversation, I need to be able to view the other person as a rational, reasonable, and generally decent person, you know. And this, I am just hoping that you're gonna think about this and let it set in. You might think that you have nothing in common with the other person, but you do, because, and this is a fact, you both care about the subject enough to say whatever you want to say. So one, there's your common ground, and two, they are just another human being. You know, they are not that different from you. When you think about it bigger, when you think about all the creatures in the world, they're more like you than an elephant or an ant, you know. And you might think that, you know, I'm being ridiculous, but I'm actually not. In order for us to work anything out, I have to view the other person as a generally decent person, as like more or less reasonable, as more or less rational. And then we can start. And you will feel this too. You'll feel when the other person is, you know, taking you seriously. That's a sign. And so I'm always saying this. I'm always saying listen to understand the other person's concepts and views. You know, the big differences between you and the other person, or me and you, is that we are coming from different, we hold different information. We picked up different information along the way. We have different experiences. That means we can both learn. That means we can grow. That's all that is. But I have to be willing to listen. You have to be willing to listen to me, and then we can actually build on the understanding. And now the big thing on social media is like, how do you influence another person? Well, that means, in my case, when you start screaming, I find it very hard to listen to you. When you start cursing, I'm basically out. I can try to take in what you have to say, but it's gonna be a lot harder for me to listen, to actually understand what you are saying, you know, beyond all the curse words or beyond all the screaming. If I'm very aware of that, I can ask you like, oh, could you lower your voice? Or like, when you speak really loudly, it's hard for me to listen. And it is. So if you want to influence another person, share your meaning, your opinion in a way that the other person is able to hear it. And don't forget, ask them to share whatever they feel, whatever they think, where they are coming from, because that's the way to influence another person. And to just come in and bark is not the way. You know, you might threaten somebody else, you might be successful for a little bit, but it's not going to be this long-term loyalty, because everything done out of fear is going to build up resistance with the other person, and long-term that is not going to work. And that's more, you know, in work situations, or, you know, even like raising your children. If you do everything out of power and use fear, you can get away with it for a little bit, but they're gonna resist you, and they're gonna retaliate at some point. So if you really want your people to do whatever you want them to do, or you want to influence somebody else with your information and your point of view, find a way in, listen, and have them share. And then another thing, which, you know, makes total sense, is whatever you think of me is none of my business, and whatever I think of you is none of your business. Eventually, I will have to get over stuff that, you know, you say or you do, and vice versa with whatever I do. And so it is a really good reminder of our conflicts, our resistance, our, you know, not feeling good about stuff is eventually our own responsibility. And now you can help me with, you know, sharing your point of view in a calm way, like all those things. But eventually it is our responsibility to get over things and move on. And when we have a conflict and we decide to work on it, then that means we have the common ground there. We both care about safety, we both care about freedom, we both care about, you know, well-being, we both care about recognition or a sense of belonging, because that's what we as human beings care about. And you can bring basically every situation, every subject, you can bring it back to one of those basic needs. That's going to be our common ground, and that's going to be the thing that we're going to build on. So, if you just want drama, then go for the drama, you know. But then why don't, you know, go on Netflix and watch an actual drama? People thought about this imaginary world, and you can watch that. But if you want to actually influence somebody, or you want to create an audience, and then have your audience share, you'll have to use a couple of these strategies to be successful. I'm hoping everybody is going to be extremely successful and enjoy this day, and I am wishing everyone the best. Bye.